Welcome to a brand new episode of The Kick Out. Loads to talk about today in today's episode. Wrestling has gone wild, and I'm here with my main man, Mekz, WrestleMania UK. Always a pleasure to see you, bro. How you been, man?
Yeah, not the best, to be completely honest. I've had a trying last couple of weeks, but the show must go on. Feeling a lot better, but still on the road to recovery.
You've been missed, and then obviously as soon as you've came out of that recovery bed, you've gone straight into work and stopped, still producing episodes for us. So we thank you dearly for that, Mekz. I go by the name of Skillit. I didn't introduce my name for those who might be listening to us.
They know who you are. It's main event us. Oh, as if no one knows who I am here. In case you didn't know, my name is Skillit. They know who you are.
I love you, brother. You sounded a lot like The Rock there.
Did I?
And I was watching. There was a debate. This before we start talking about the crazy news that we're hearing in the past few days and weeks in the world of wrestling. I noticed there was a debate that was brought to my attention. Shout outs to Things podcast who retweeted this. And,
yes.
And I think they tagged me in it as well, and yourself. And there was a young lady, I can't remember her name.
Danielle, I think they said.
Danielle. She was cool. She was lovely. But in her opinion, and we have to remember, everybody absorbs wrestling differently.
Yep.
There are different generations to this. Some people wouldn't see how certain wrestlers was moving in their heyday, and they're only judging it from maybe repeats or replays of this, or even a little bit of brief footage that they've seen. I'm not saying that she hasn't seen a lot of The Rock, but she said Rock is top 10, not top 5. And she meant mostly because of wrestling in-ring skills,
ability.
And I guess with the in-ring ability, I didn't argue with her because in-ring wise, she's not totally wrong. Rock is a great worker, great entertainer. He could put on a great match. But obviously we all know he hasn't got the technical prowess that so many other wrestlers have. Yeah. But to say though that he's not top 5,
it's mental, isn't it?
It's absurd. Like he's top 2.
Yeah,
like,
literally.
Let's be honest. And we're talking about the whole package here. Put wrestling aside, he's one of the greatest of all time. And she did say in-ring, she did say mic skills, he's one of the best of all time. But you have to see Rock and people like Rock and Austin, they're above all of that.
100.
But it's interesting because then I asked her, so who's in your top 5? And she mentioned Edge. I think she mentioned Punk.
Edge.
Punk. I know. I think she mentioned Edge. She mentioned Punk. I think she mentioned. Did she mention Orton? I think she mentioned Orton.
Well, like you said, this then obviously is showing age and generations.
100%.
And stuff.
She obviously probably watched wrestling from the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
Onwards, so. I think she might mention Ray. I can't remember, but it's very interesting.
When people start talking about wrestling and top 5s and stuff these days, my initial straight go-to question is, are we talking about in-ring ability? Are we talking about total package? Are we talking about the best sports entertainer? Because these are all very, different things which we can rate people by. Like, if she wants to say, The Rock is, his in-ring ability wasn't all that, we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about a total package,
you don't get better. You don't get better.
How is he not in the top 5?
You don't get better. And you're talking about a company that's called itself World Wrestling Entertainment.
Yeah.
If anyone is the E in entertainment, it's The Rock.
100.
Unbelievable talent. But it's interesting. Please kick out listeners. Tweet us. Interact with us. Let us know who's in your top 5, who's in your top 10. Ask us any question. You know what? I'm gonna put a tweet out right now to say we are recording live, myself and Mekz, and hopefully DJ Ace will join us soon. We don't know where Tay is. I went to a party with Tay on Saturday. It was a soca party. Jesus Christ. We were drunk way before the party started, and we were drunk way after. But we had a good time. But yes, obviously, people stay safe. It's still a crazy virus out there, and I know a lot of people at this party was not staying safe. So yeah, a bit of a risky one. But I'm gonna say we are recording live. Any questions for myself and Mekz?
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I like when I see kind of like I say outlandish, but like comments like that which get the timeline really talking.
Yeah.
Before that, I don't know if you saw a couple days before that, someone said that Eddie Guerrero is a B+ player.
So I think, wasn't it you and someone else that's ripping this guy to shreds? I
It wasn't me. I watched it. Maybe I retweeted a couple stuff, but
I think people were getting onto him.
yeah, a lot of people were very upset. People were saying that, you know, some people said, or that guy particularly said that you only call him an A+ player because obviously he's passed, which isn't fair at all.
That is not, people were, when he was alive, people were generally saying he's one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that was the mad conversation that happened earlier in the week. We had journalists in the industry literally piping in on that tweet. I remember Matt Hardy tweeted Eddie Guerrero's
I think
A+.
Bishop said something as well. I think I saw Bishop say something,
people from the industry, you know, the top names really got involved to you know, make sure that Eddie's legacy wasn't tarnished by this guy's
and I think tweet. I saw Chavo tweet like, I love you guys for chiming in and getting this guy the hell out of here. But that's the thing. People want to tweet these madness. They probably haven't watched an Eddie Guerrero match in their life, because it's
some of them is just for the controversy, bro. It's for the traffic to
100%. It's just to make himself famous. Because I don't care who you are, wrestling or not wrestling fan or whatever. If you watch an Eddie Guerrero match, you're not walking out thinking that was not a work of art. Like,
of course.
He was one of the best of all time. But yeah, people love to do this nonsense. Like, here's the thing, like, this is what I'm saying. Like, even though we had that argument about pops, and I was saying about the Cena pop is like, you can't compare it to you can't. But I recognize Cena is a freaking star. He's a mega star. He's a superstar. So of course he generates great pops. I literally watched this morning while I'm working from home, and I was on the laptop. I put on No Mercy 2016.
Yeah.
And it was AJ Styles versus Dean Ambrose versus Cena. And Cena's reaction was outstanding. It was incredible. So of course I do recognize, like, I think Ace thought I was hating on Cena. It's not that. I do recognize that Cena is a big name, and yes, he's a freaking Hall of Famer. He's a legend. He's a Mount Rushmore talent. So he's gonna generate these crazy reactions. But I mean, I was inside when Austin and Rock was doing it on a regular basis.
You know what the thing is as well with Austin and Rock, they were at a time where these are, remember, early beginnings of the internet. So there was nowhere to see these guys or catch them elsewhere apart from going to a show.
You made that point, and you were absolutely right.
So when you go to a show and you see these guys, you go ballistic. Like, if we miss Cena coming back at Money in the Bank, okay, we can watch it back on the network, or you know, we can watch it elsewhere or something like that. And even in our house, you might be like, oh God, like Cena's sick and all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, we have the privilege of being able to watch it by other mediums. Back then, that wasn't such a thing. You had to live it. Like, so yeah, Austin pops are unrivaled.
Exactly. You know, and before Austin came on the scene, the biggest pops were, well, Hogan had obviously great reactions.
Yeah, of course.
Road Warrior pops, you know, the Hawk and Animal had crazy pops. That's what they used to be called, Road Warrior pops. So it's very interesting listening. But we got a lot of interesting news to talk about in the world of wrestling. I've been really enjoying AEW. Before we talk about the world of wrestling and controversy of certain news and what's happening, the last episode of AEW Dynamite I think it was booked to perfection. The 10-man tag team match,
elimination
Dark Order versus the Elite. You know, Andrade's interaction with Pac and Ray Phoenix, and why is my brain doing this to me again? Penta, and what was the main event?
The main event was the death match.
Death match with
Nick Gage and Chris
Jericho, and then obviously MJF announcing Juventud Guerrero will be returning, which is
juicy, you know.
That was a massive mark-out moment for me. It's hilarious because the Juice and Jericho had these epic matches, and me being a young WCW fan, I always like, even though I found it hilarious what The Rock said, I did feel for Juventud, because Juventud was a bad boy. He was an absolute bad boy. Yes, he had his demons and he had his issues with drugs and alcohol. but he was an absolute beast in that ring. And then when Jericho debuted on WWE, it wasn't the debut promo. It was like a couple promos after. When he finally made his entrance to WWE, and The Rock was like, "You think you're a big shot because down in Deep South you were wrestling some jabroni named Juventud?" Like, as much as I found that hilarious, I felt it ruined Juventud career. It's like destroyed his career. And everyone's like, "Yeah, he's a mini jabroni." No, he's not. Like, and then obviously, I love that in AEW recently, Jericho brought up the whole I was having classics with him and too when you what did he say to MJF?
Yeah, I was having classics with him when you were in like diapers or something like that. And then MJF was like, who's Juventud? He's like, Google him.
And then I guess
that was early AEW. That was literally
AEW.
within months of them starting TV. So great way how they've kind of spun the whole story.
Great way to spin it back. Great way to, because he disrespected Hoovy back then, but now they're actually showing everyone how much they actually really respect Hoovy. And then he was like one of the greatest luchadors of all time. And I did Google him, and it's like, yes, like storytelling 101, man. It's amazing. Like AEW, man, they're killing it, I have to say.
Bro, throughout July, their programming, since they've been back on the road, they've absolutely knocked it out the park. Obviously, we've seen the debut of Malachi Black over there. We've seen Andrade's had his first match. All the stuff that they're really starting to tease between Kenny and Hangman. And obviously the stuff that happened on the last show, like you said, the death match. They've proper knocked it out the parks in July, man, and it's looking good for the next few months with their big pay-per-views and stuff on the way.
We got a question here from G Gone Wrestling. Oh, GG. GG, big up GG. What do you guys think they're gonna do with Hangman and the Kenny story? Do you think we are still seeing this match at All Out?
So apparently the answer is no. This isn't going to be the match. They might somehow get Christian. I think is the number one contender, number one in the men's singles rankings. So that's probably going to be the match. Some people are saying. I have no idea, and I feel the need to fantasy book more when you're watching WWE stuff because it's just kind of directionless. But with AEW, I'm just happy to leave them to their devices and just kind of watch every show as it happens and see how it unfolds. So I don't really have an opinion on how it's going to kind of turn out. But I'm looking forward to it.
So you think they're going to delay this match?
That's the rumor. Meltzer has said that the match isn't happening at All Out. At the same time, people are saying obviously that's going to be Punk's apparently like his first pay-per-view. So you don't want to overcloud, Hangman possibly winning the title with Punk returning. So and it's going to be in Chicago. So yeah, maybe Punk is going to be the world title match. Who knows? But I guess we just have to wait and see.
Danny_Zelos asks, does Punk and Bryan potentially going to AEW move them closer to WWE? Like, are these the signings that they need? Are these the marquee signings? Are these the Hall and Nash, the whole, that's going to join and change the game? I mean, potentially.
Yeah.
Punk is a big one. Bryan is definitely a big one. These are big household names. So yes, they can generate a lot of WWE traffic. I just think this is going to sound very disrespectful because obviously I think Punk and Bryan are big stars, and they are, and they are going to help WWE. I just feel like if it was someone like a Cena, or if they get someone like a Lesnar,
Reigns,
or someone like Reigns, could really, but this is still big signing. So yes, I'm gonna short answer yes. I'm gonna say.
I think so.
There's still other names that could have really pushed.
Yeah. I think the thing is, CM Punk for sure is going to bring a lot of people back to wrestling. Same way when he was in the UFC and everyone kind of flocked over to UFC to see what he was doing over there. He's going to bring a lot of people back to wrestling. I don't have much of an interest in like TV ratings, this, that, and the other. So, I mean, I don't know necessarily, or don't care, should I say, who's a draw or this, that, and the other. But Bryan is obviously one of the most beloved people in wrestling. Sure. Punk is one of the most controversial and stuff. So definitely, these are going to be like their top tier names. But like you said, someone like Lesnar would definitely be, blockbuster, Cena, blockbuster. So, yeah.
Shout outs to my actual blood brother, Chris Mentalis. The WWE relying too much on previous talent, and are the WWE relying too much on previous talent? Again, not establishing new stars. Okay, so he's actually thought you meant he was going to say something about AEW, but he's actually saying is WWE relying too much on previous talent, and again, not establishing new stars.
When we say previous talent, we talking about old guys.
I guess, like, yeah, the Cenas, and I guess still having Reigns and still having Seth and still having all these people at the top. You know,
It seems like it. Like right now, it looks like the rest of the roster is being fed to Roman in these B-level pay-per-views, as they call them. And when it's SummerSlam, Mania, Royal Rumble, they're calling the legends back for Roman. So instead of kind of building someone in between, that can be the guy to beat Roman, sort of thing. So yeah, there is some building, but it depends. Like Lashley's being built, or he's been treated well over the last year, but Lashley's already 40 odd. Drew, I think, is clearly going to be the successor to Roman, but Roman's only really just getting started. Let's be honest. So I don't know when they're gonna pull the trigger on that per se, but yeah, there is still a reliance on the older guys.
We have another question here from Gigi, but I'm going to ask it when we talk more about the news because it's kind of relating to something that's happened. I guess should we just go straight into it? I mean, we were going to wait for DJ Ace. We're not sure where he is, so let's just continue. Yeah, let's talk about the news today in the world of wrestling, Mekz.
So, well, it's been a busy weekend. We've heard that Bray Wyatt's left WWE on Friday. By this morning, we had heard that Adam Cole's contract ends after SummerSlam. And by this afternoon, we had heard that Ric Flair's left WWE, his Legends contract. So I guess we can start with Bray Wyatt. I mean, what's your initial reactions on Bray Wyatt leaving?
Yeah, big loss. One of the most creative wrestling brains in the last 10, 15 years. Absolute genius. He's done some really, really, really good work with WWE. Amazing work. Some really, really entertaining stuff, like, the Wyatt family stuff that he did, and evolving that character to so many different aspects of Bray. There was even stuff that didn't even happen because things got cancelled. Like maybe he tried to do the Sister Abigail storyline when he had the mask over his face and stuff like that. Obviously, I got a bit after last year's WrestleMania with the Firefly Funhouse, the Cena match, which I absolutely think was a work of art. Like I've said that so many times. One of the best matches I've ever seen in terms of like this creativity. I remember like it was so good. I remember because my brother Andrew, shout out to K Knight, he doesn't really watch wrestling like I do anymore. He's really off of it, but he will watch WrestleMania.
Yeah,
he always takes time for WrestleMania, and obviously because of his COVID WrestleMania, he was like, "What is this? This is dead." He kept calling me, but he said he likes certain matches, and I just told him, "Bro, wait for the Firefly Funhouse match." And I remember him when he was watching it. I FaceTimed him the same time he was watching it, and I just saw his face. And his face was exactly how I was. He was in awe. He was like, "Bro, this is genius." He kept saying, "This is genius." I said, "Yeah, this is amazing." And shout out to Cena as well, who played a big part in that. But then I just felt like the character for me, it just wasn't working out for me. I really, I remember I said
the Fiend character or
Fiend
what?
character.
Exactly?
The Fiend character. Remember, I rang the bell for him. I said,
Yeah.
I did the 10. So I love it when Skillit is right.
Yeah, I guess you were right in this.
I rang the bell, and Ace was saying I was crazy, but it just wasn't what it was, and I don't blame. I guess looking at the fact that he's actually gone, I guess you can't totally blame Bray for that because it's clearly there's some creative differences, and maybe there's certain things that he wanted to do that he couldn't do. Do you know what I mean? And maybe this is no, we'll do this. But I just felt that the Fiend character, which was amazing when it first started, when he first came in, he debuted against Finn Balor, got Finn out of here, and I was like, this is crazy. And he revamped the entrance and everything. I was like, okay, cool. But then it just got a bit like, nah, this is a bit too wacky, too hokey, it was just got too wrestle crap kind of for me. So that's why I had to rebel and Bray, and now he's gone, unfortunately. But I don't think this is the end of Bray. I think whatever he's reincarnate, his new storyline, new gimmick, this could be a good thing. This could be a blessing in disguise. He could be now a Wyndham. He could be, Wyndham, raising that Wyndham legacy, do
Yeah.
something completely different, but still scary. Like, I think Bray still has a lot of miles in this
Well,
wrestling game.
he's already advertising. I think it was on his Instagram, Cult of Wyndham, which is maybe his
I
new.
didn't even know that. And
Maybe
that,
that's his new thing.
that for me being a lifelong wrestling fan, seeing the Wyndhams in this day. Well, I didn't see the Blackjacks in the day, but I saw Barry Windham growing up. Like, this makes me happy. This is what I want to see.
I was a big fan of the Fiend. I think aesthetically, like just the mask, everything they did, like you said, the packaging, the entrance, everything. I thought they have nailed it with this guy. It seemed to me that the issues came with his character every time they wanted to put the belt on him, or did put the belt on him, because you're putting the belt on a supernatural character, and ultimately a supernatural character shouldn't lose. You see what I mean? So you've kind of booked yourself into a corner, as they say. And then obviously, stupid decisions like feeding him to Goldberg in Saudi Arabia. It's just like you're building somebody. Like, come on.
Exactly.
A lot of people hated the finish to the Hell in a Cell match he had with Seth Rollins, when Seth Rollins hit him with a sledgehammer or something like that.
Yep.
I personally didn't mind it. People didn't like the red lights in his matches. Again, I didn't mind it. I thought it worked for, I guess, his character, but I can imagine if you're in the arena how it's a bit of an annoying thing. I was more into the Fiend than I was ever into any of his Wyatt family stuff. However, I did really like the Wyatt family stuff with the Shield. When they used to go back and forth back in the day.
100%. Amazing.
Yeah, I think it's a big loss, and everyone has kind of said it. A lot of people, I never even knew this. A lot of people had said since Friday, this guy got them back into wrestling, or this guy got them into wrestling and stuff like that. And I was thinking, Bray Wyatt, as in Wyatt family Bray, like, shocked me completely. I never knew, people kind of rated him to that level. Obviously, we all know he's a genius, very creative, but I never knew, he was kind of that up there for maybe this newer generation of fan. It's a crazy.
Do you remember when he was Husky Harris?
In
NXT,
Nexus.
And he was a Nexus, and he had those tryouts, and then there was kind of building a little thing with Husky and CM Punk when he was the leader, because Punk was beating up everybody, but then he was kind of gone, and like nobody saw him in the main roster, but they didn't forget about him. And then obviously he got reinvented as the Bray Wyatt in NXT, and him and Rowan and Luke Harper all came up together, which was amazing, and they did that really great entry. I think they debuted against Kane on Raw. And I think it was Kane. I could be wrong.
Was their debut at SummerSlam? I can't remember.
I think they debuted on a Raw.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I think it was against Kane. And I just remember them attacking Kane or whatever, Roman and Harper, and then Bray will come off his rocking chair and he walks over to Kane and he's laughing, he's doing that maniacal laugh, that crazy laugh that he does, and the crowd was saying Husky Harris, and
they tried to kill him,
and he goes on his knees and like, and everyone was just like going, because obviously they had the vignettes. Remember, they had the vignette for a while, the kind of True Detective style vignettes. Oh man, like that stuff gave me goosebumps, man. Like
it was good.
That's the Bray I love. Like, I love that Bray Wyatt. Like, and when his promos, and he's saying these amazing quotes. I remember I sampled one of his quotes for a song I never put out.
Oh, really?
It was about fear, and I need to find it on the network. I need to find this quote on the network, because I've been trying to find it, and it was an episode of Raw that he said it, but he said some beautiful quote about fear and what fear does to people. It was like he had some really, and I'm a big fan of quotes. Like, back in the day, I used to watch X-Men, and my favorite villain was Apocalypse, because Apocalypse would drop some fucking bad boy quotes. So that's the kind of thing, like, Bray kind of remind me of that. So man, it's a shame. It's actually really a shame that he's gone. The fact that I'm talking to you about it for as long as we have, I think it's all coming back to me how much I love that guy, man.
It's mad. The entire Wyatt family is gone. Like, obviously, for me, I got into them in NXT because of Luke Harper. I've
Yeah,
always been a big Luke Harper fan
for
from when I
sure.
first seen him wrestle. I think it's Shakara,
Yeah, for sure.
and
That's when he
when
made
I
his
saw,
bones, man.
yeah, when I seen him with Bray Wyatt, I was like, okay, cool. Let's see what he's gonna do in WWE. Like I said, I was never really into Bray, but I did like him when they had the WrestleMania 30. Was it WrestleMania 30 or 31 against Undertaker? 30, he faced John Cena. 31, Undertaker. I thought this could be the passing of the guard here if they get this
It should
right.
have been. It should have
Yeah,
been.
they didn't pull the trigger on it. You know,
Remember his amazing match with Daniel Bryan at Royal Rumble,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then he had that amazing when they had Bryan join the Wyatt family in that cage match and everyone.
yeah.
Oh man, like
Even the
he was.
stuff they did with Orton joining the Wyatt family and stuff like that was
Yep,
half decent. That's when he
that was
became
half
WWE
decent.
champion. And then like I said, it was kind of dead, and then they brought him back with the Fiend for me, and I was all in. I said this guy just looks like a terror, like. But again, they just kind of fed him to the lions that are Goldberg and just bad booking. So it's a shame,
It's a
man.
shame. What else has been going on? Who else has been released?
So yeah, next on the proverbial chopping block, I guess, what is the Adam Cole story that popped up. That Adam Cole, his contract actually ended last month at
Mhm,
Great American Bash. After Great American Bash, his match with Kyle O'Reilly, the second match
mhm.
in their series. He signed a short-term deal to the end of SummerSlam. It looks like SummerSlam weekend he's going to take on Kyle O'Reilly one more time to be the third match in their series. Um, and the question is he going to stay on after SummerSlam? Like, obviously, he's kind of done everything he can do in NXT. Longest reigning NXT champion, tag team champion, North American champion. He's basically taking Kyle O'Reilly now to the next level. The main roster beckons, but we all know what the main roster looks like, especially for guys promoted from NXT, especially for guys that aren't the biggest of stature, which Adam Cole isn't. And of course, AEW kind of is waiting in the wings. He's got friends over there in, the Bucks and stuff where he's teamed up with ample times on the indies, this, that, and the other. His girlfriend is over there, Britt Baker, AEW women's champion. And
The elite.
especially, yeah, the elite, especially as, live shows come back and people are moving around America. They're no longer all based in Florida, where obviously AEW was based in Jacksonville in Florida. It may just make sense that for him and his missus to stay close together, he goes over there. But
I
it
mean,
will be
yeah,
a
I mean,
massive loss for
it will be a
NXT
massive
and
loss.
WWE.
I mean, that's one thing I was looking forward to seeing when he debuted in NXT Brooklyn 2017, and he and Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish attacked Drew McIntyre. I saw that live.
Sick debut.
I was
Sick
I
debut.
was I was I was probably one of the best NXT pay-per-views I've ever seen live, and I was going crazy because that's something I've always wanted to see. I wanted to see all three of them and Roderick Strong in the main roster in WWE, and it just never really happened. It just did
Yeah.
never like. There was a time where Undisputed Era was probably arguably the most popular faction in wrestling.
Yeah.
That obviously Bullet Club was out at the time when they were doing their thing, but Undisputed Era was killing it as well. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, Bullet Club
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Japan and Undisputed Era was getting these pops, these crazy pops. Even when they did the crossover stuff with Survivor Series, Undisputed Era would have these crazy pops, and they just never pushed them all together on the main roster. It was just very disappointing to me how they handled that. I strongly think he's going to re-sign with WWE. Apparently, he's been very respectful with the negotiations. He's he's not pushing for anything, mate. You know what I mean? He's not doing
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
that's rude or and he could do if he wanted to because he has every right to. His contract's coming up, but
Yeah.
I think they will re-sign him. I hope they re-sign him. I hope they reunite Undisputed Era. That's not going to happen with what's going on with the storylines of Roderick Strong and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
or maybe sign, Adam Cole and have put. I mean, he can talk. I'm not saying he needs a talker, but also have maybe some muscle behind him, like what they do with AJ Styles and Omos.
Yeah.
Maybe have Adam Cole and because I think the reason why they were never pushed in the main roster because Vince looks at him and sees a skinny kid,
Small guy. Yeah. Yeah.
which
100%.
is a shame. Not the talent that he is.
I
But
think Adam Cole is a WWE champion. Adam Cole is a WrestleMania main eventer. Like, I think Triple H and Shawn Michaels have done such great work with a booking of Undisputed Era, of Adam Cole particularly. It will be devastating if Adam
yeah,
Cole walks out of the company.
Yeah.
So I do think, you know, the fact that he signed a short-term deal between Great American Bash and, you know, SummerSlam in 2 to 3 weeks makes me think that he's not sticking around, because why wouldn't he have just signed, you know, a longer-term deal at that time? It makes me think he's not sticking around. However, it doesn't. WWE, well, should I say Adam Cole, in my opinion, just because of how they book on the main roster, if he can get away with signing like a 1-year contract or a 2-year contract, that is the absolute maximum he should sign. Do not commit yourself to 5 years and then they're, you know, messing around with you in 18 months time.
Yeah.
Literally 1 or 2 years. It doesn't really benefit WWE to do that, but at least they don't lose him to AEW. Yeah, I think a short-term contract, 1 or 2 years, and then see how it goes on the main roster. And then, you know, if it doesn't go your way, then kick.
So the next person we're going to talk about who's been recently released is the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Woo!
Yeah, man.
Hall of Famer legend. So this is the question that Gigi asked. Said, if Ric Flair is going to go to AEW, who's his dream opponent?
Opponent? I don't know, bro. Like, Ric Flair needs to stay at home, bro. Like, fam, he's what, 70
I think they should definitely do a Ric Flair Pinnacle thing, though.
Yeah, they could do. Tully's there, even Arnie's over there, but he's with Cody.
I don't think they should do Ric Flair in Pinnacle.
Mm.
I think what they should do is pay Ric Flair to show up, do a little one-off gig.
That's on the cards. 100.
Just to get heat on Pinnacle.
Yeah.
Ric Flair shows up, reunites with Tully. They have a lovely reunion. They hug. They kiss, they hug, and talk about the good old days. And then Ric Flair's bigging up. You're managing some really good talent. Obviously, MJF disrespects him, and they all jump Ric Flair.
Could do. Ric
Flair will take a blade job for that.
Yeah, 100%. I just think, like, TNT, him going back to TNT after all these years, it's kind of written in the stars. They'll find somewhere to kind of slot him in nicely. Some people have spoke about him taking over as, I think Gigi mentioned actually, him taking over from Chavo Guerrero as Andrade's manager. Obviously, there's ties there back to Charlotte and their kind of family relationship right now. But I just think during the pandemic, at least right now, just Ric Flair, just sit at home, man.
I hear you. Can you see, guys? Oh, this is Liam_SCFC. Can you guys see WWE hiring back any of their recent releases somewhere down the line, like they did with Samoa Joe and Zelina Vega? Well, we both were talking about Braun Strowman.
Yeah, I can see Braun Strowman.
I could see him getting hired back. I could even see Bray getting hired back somehow, but maybe not.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure Bray would want to go back.
No, he probably won't.
Apparently, he was meant to actually be back on TV as of this month.
Right.
Some things and creative that was thrown at him just wasn't sticking, and that's been the case for some months now. Like, just poor ideas that will basically sabotage his character, and he's not been on it. So he's just kind of rejected them and stuff. And yeah, I mean, Bray could literally go in to do films with the amount of 100%. Talent and stuff he has. So yeah, I mean, if we do see him back in wrestling, I don't think it'll be WWE.
Anybody else we're forgetting that they've got rid of, they could hire back? I mean, I could see them getting Andrade back, not anytime soon, but I mean, like, say if Andrade wrestled in like a year or two in AEW, and a year or two later they get him back, if Charlotte's still in the company.
Yeah, that's possible.
I could see them getting I don't know,
I think there's some people. I think the likes of like some, if you want to say like smaller talents, someone like Chelsea Green. I think just how she kind of carries herself online, I feel like she thinks, I never done it on the big stage. I never got an opportunity to. She was always injured, this, that, and the other. So she would go back if the opportunity was there.
Yeah.
There'll probably be quite a few people like that, younger talents that got released that will always, they'll get a second chance somewhere down the line. So
WWE Raw's on Chicago tonight, isn't it?
Yep.
So Trey the Blade, shout outs to Trey the Blade, has asked this question: how many CM Punk chants will there be tonight in Chicago? Do you think WWE main roster shows will actually be better if Triple H takes overall, and takes over the show, takes overall control, or is the WWE too set in their ways? I'll probably always be a WWE guy as I've always known WWE, and I don't like death matches. So, first question: CM Punk chance in Chicago. Yeah,
I think so. Goldberg is due on the show. He today he's obviously going to confront Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley rejecting his advances for the WWE Championship match at SummerSlam. I think that is probably the segment where the CM Punk chants come out, because people obviously aren't into Goldberg so much, especially Chicago is a rabid crowd as we know it.
Can
they
you
might
imagine?
bury Goldberg completely.
All right. What if this is a swerve? Hear me out.
I've heard this. I've heard this take. I'm sure.
Like, is there confirmation that AEW has signed CM Punk?
No, but there's just heavily hints on it everywhere.
But could you see WWE releasing a lot of talent to raise a lot of money to sign back CM Punk?
I mean,
my only thing with this theory is where it's flawed is if you're my rival, yeah, and say for instance, people saying, "Oh, Skillit might get," say me and you don't talk no more. You're doing WrestleMania UK by yourself. There's no more affiliation with Kick Out, and I'm just doing Kick Out. And then there's a big rumor that one of us is going to get CM Punk on our podcast.
Yeah.
Right? I haven't had any chats with CM Punk, but you may have. I don't know. But there's a rumor saying that, Punk might be coming to to Kick Out. Yeah. Right? Or he might be going to WrestleMania. But yeah, he might be going to Kick Out, whatever. But I'm like, well, I haven't had a chat with CM Punk. And it's like, wait, so he actually might be going to WrestleMania. I will probably blow the whole lid and say, well, I haven't had a chat with, to ruin the chance that spoil that you might have a sneaky surprise on me. I will probably spoil the party by saying, well, I haven't had a chat with CM Punk, so he's definitely gonna go to WrestleMania UK.
So what you're saying, that WWE should have done that, should have basically come out already and said that, well,
no, what I was trying to say was, if this was a swerve and he's actually going back to WWE, I think AEW would bait up that they never had any negotiations with Punk, or any Punk negotiations failed, and he's actually not coming to my show.
Yeah, too much has happened, man. He's
going to
He's going to say too much has happened. I mean, the Rampage
he can't
show.
Stand them, man. He can't stand
the Rampage show before All Out is in Chicago. All Out is in Chicago. Darby Allin has said that, if you want to prove you are the best in the world, you come to AEW. Obviously, best in the world is his old moniker. Everything seems to have lined up that it's happening. So
all right. And then the last question is by DJ Ribs Arbiz. Shout out to Arbiz, man. He's a G. He said, "What I going for Ric Flair and Lacey Evans picnic?" That storyline didn't continue. So I think is that all for the news?
Yeah, pretty much. In terms of everything, like we said, it's just releases, this, that, and the other. Sasha Banks came back on Friday at SmackDown. Setting up
I love that.
Yeah, setting up her SummerSlam program with Bianca Belair for the title.
Yeah.
Like I said, Goldberg's going to be on Raw tonight, as of time of recording.
So we might as well do another episode this week then.
Yeah.
Break down Raw. We'll break down Raw this week. Maybe wait for AEW.
Yeah, AEW on Wednesday.
We'll do Raw and Dynamite review this week. And hopefully Ace will join us. But yeah, I think a lot of interesting stuff. I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited. I want to say one thing before we sign off. I do believe that AEW needs to be really clever here, though. They need to be really careful, and they need to be really clever, because you don't want to do what's been happening before in the past, where you're just hiring a bunch of WWE talent and it just gets a bit too much. I'm not saying they should miss out on Bray. No way. If I'm AEW, if I'm Khan, I'm getting Bray Wyatt. But you need to be careful how you showcase Bray Wyatt. You need to first and foremost, think carefully about where you're going next. Bray will sort that out for you. Bray will probably know. Bray has a bunch of ideas. So, like you said, the Wyndham family thing. So he's already got ideas of where he wants to go. Okay, that's cool. But if you sign Bray, if I were him, I would sign Bray, but don't showcase Bray anytime soon. Keep them waiting. You don't want to just come and
Put
we can't.
everyone out there.
No, you don't want to keep doing that because WWE ain't doing that other way. Why? See, in the Monday Night Wars, it was trade off against trade off. It was like one WWE talent coming to WWE,
Yeah.
WWE, one talent going to the, you know what I mean? WWE. It's not like that right now.
Yeah,
It's just
no one's moving the other way.
Exactly. So I would.
Do you know the one thing that AEW, how they'll benefit from, like obviously they've got less hours of TV programming than WWE, which is crazy because obviously with WWE all of their TV programming, how can't they fit these guys in? But anyway, yeah, they've got less hours, but they are working with Impact, they are working with New Japan, so they can afford to have, okay, maybe Bray Wyatt or someone is not on TV for 2 months on Dynamite, but they can send him to New Japan. They can send him to Impact.
That's what I was thinking.
And almost have like a season kind of cyclical kind of thing with all of their talent. So
send him across different promotions before he shows up in Dynamite. That's what.
Yeah. And like I say, you know, they could do that with anyone. Andrade can have a spell in AAA or something like that before he comes back to Dynamite eventually, just to give someone else some time to breathe on Dynamite. So that's the benefit, where they don't have all the hours of TV like WWE. They are working with other promotions, so yeah, their talent can still be used elsewhere and keep their characters fresh.
Well, it's very interesting times right now, Max. Who would have thought COVID came through and it nearly killed the wrestling business, only to actually maybe revamp it and revive it? Because right now, 2021 is seeming like a very, very exciting year to be a wrestling fan. So we'll keep talking some more wrestling this week. Max, anything else before we sign off, my friend?
That's it, man. Yeah, a lot is happening, just loads of news. We'll try and just keep bringing it to you guys. But yeah, stay tuned.
And thank you for everyone for sending us your questions via Twitter. I believe Ace was going to unfortunately, Ace was supposed to join us today. I think he had a bunch of theories and questions for us to debate about, but we'll have him back on the show this week. And hopefully we can all, get some exciting news and some topics to bring about sometime this week. So, yep, we are out. I'm Skillit. This is Mekz. Please follow us on The Kick Out.